Welcome friends to another Halo lore video. When the flood break out from wherever they are being held to three distinct stages dubbed feral, coordinated and interstellar. Now at each of these stages the flood become more and more dangerous. And we're going to go through and describe each of these stages in a little more detail and show how they develop. In terms of the infection forms, I'm going to go into that a little, but I'll be doing a separate video on each of those bits in the future. Now, as I said, the first stage is the feral stage. At this moment, the flood haven't developed enough for there to be a key mind to direct their activities, so they simply act like wild animals, like predators. They do, however, have enough in their heads to seek out new hosts, and they will do this as a group. They do travel and spread extremely quickly at this stage, and can be a threat through their sheer numbers and the brute force they bring. Their spreading is aided at this stage by SCC spores, which convert any biomass into new infection forms. At this stage, the flood are very animal-like and very predatorial in how they act, but they still bring a lot of danger because they move and attack very quickly and have an advantage of sheer numbers. It's during this time FSC spores are created that will add to the flood's corruption. They will change any biomass nearby into a new infection form. Some spores that are created can be dormant for a very long time, going into centuries. When it gets to a place where it feels it can be activated, or it is attached to a food source, then it will come to life. The spores have the ability to make both sapient and non-sapient species hosts for its parasitic abilities. It will consume them, transform their biomass into incubators which are egg-like in appearance. They will then go on to create larger forms for the flood. And there's no cure for this, no way to slow down its alteration and mutation of your body. Once this has led to a great gathering of biomass, then the parasite can activate another stage. They can make layers for defense and grow more specialized forms. These layers I speak about are not new buildings, but the flood will make something in the vicinity of it into an environment it can flourish in. Now, if you look at these tumorous blights, as the Halo Encyclopedia says, they are very obvious targets to attack so that you can cleanse the flood, but in actuality, they're just a symptom of the flood's infestation. And this is a realisation that the Forerunners made far too late. And next we'll look at the coordinated stage. This stage happens when the key minds mark a transition point to the next vile stage of flood infestation. And at this point, the goals for the flood also change. Now they want to accumulate neural tissue and biomass as well, in order to create larger hives and higher order minds. In other words, they want to get smarter. This leads to the creation of combat and carrier forms, which are directed by a key mind. They have a smartness and are capable of tactical choices, and can also use the weapons around them, picking up something one of their adversaries might have discarded. They can also do the following: operate vehicles, ambush tactics are available to them, and they can source ammunition. There's also further warping of the combat forms. Spore towers are also made at this stage. On any given world the flood are infesting, the forms of those that are died and any combat form that is damaged are used to feed massive FSC growths that blanket former population centres. The spore towers come from this and rise high into the sky, creating great peaks, and they will then go on to choke all remaining life as it grows further over the world's surface. And now the third and final stage, and perhaps the most interesting. Again, there is an acceleration in the intelligence of the flood. This stage is dubbed the interstellar stage, and this is when a Gravemind will have been made. Remember, there can be more than one of these. At this stage, the flood will try to get any new technology and knowledge and feed that information to its larger consciousness. The flood here will use existing transport technology if possible, and the Gravemind by the Halo encyclopedia is dubbed a depthless well of knowledge who can adapt to many long-lost secrets of space travel to local situations. If it is left unchecked, many interstellar stage collectives and Gravemind avatars will come together in a pattern across the galaxy, a harmonized pattern, which will make sure that no planet will not be infected. In other words, they're going to be pretty unstoppable at this stage. What happens then? Sadly, we don't know, but they will have achieved their goal. There are three consequences of this stage. The first is any starships that the Flood have taken over will be changed into hives that will spread the parasite across the galaxy as it travels. However, the Flood here is careless with these resources. They sometimes might simply crash onto an enemy and infect them in that way, and merely let the monsters and clouds of spores do the work. Next are star roads. The Gravemind is so smart here, it can unlock the intelligence of the precursors, something that even the Forerunners themselves struggle to do at many stages. It will unlock these star roads for the use of the Flood. And I'll go straight to a quote from the Halo Encyclopedia here. These corridors, through esoteric spaces, allowed plague fleets to bypass Forerunner defences and crush their largest fortifications. Star roads function as pathways woven between dimensions, built with strange matter and neural physical links which were obliterated when the halos fired. Their extraordinary, resilient and powerful brain composition allows those who wield them the ability to manipulate immense objects at a stellar scale, easily tearing starships apart and pummeling planets and moons into debris. And this next section and the last section, we'll look at things called burns. These are a term the Forerunners introduced. It's basically referring to a region of space where the Flood dominate it completely. These areas are thought to be non-recoverable by the Forerunners. They will be subject to being quarantine zones first, and then total sterilisation will be performed. It's described a little here in the encyclopedia. Their continents burned to molten slag and their oceans boiled by orbiting fleets. A final effort of just simple destruction to remove the Flood. And on that cheery note, friends, I will leave the Flood alone for today, though I will be returning in the future to look at their various infestation forms. Those forms that have kicked your ass so many times in the Halo games. We'll get some juicy details about them.